ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar my dear friends, this is video number 14 on Panchadasi of Swami Vidyarnaya Bharti Tirtha. This video starts with third part of chapter 9, and the topic is meditation prescribed for those who cannot inquire. We have seen so far the cases of persons who are capable of inquiry and yet who are prevented from reaching the goal owing to some obstacle or other. But there are some persons who are not capable even of inquiring into the true nature of the self. Karma makes inquiry impossible for them, either due to extreme dullness of intellect or due to the impossibility of the causal aggregate for inquiry. They are incapable of inquiring into the purport of the Vedantas, and for them scripture prescribes constant meditation on Brahma. Nor may it be said that meditation on Brahma without attributes is impossible. For just as in the case of meditation on Brahma with attributes, even in Nirgunopasana there is the possibility of the repetition of cognition. If it be said that meditation on what is beyond the reach of speech and mind is impossible, then even the knowledge of such an object would not be obtained. Brahma knowledge would then turn out to be a contradiction in terms. If Brahma knowledge be within the province of possibility, then even meditation on Brahma must be possible. It may be said that Brahma is known to be beyond the spheres of speech and mind. Then it can be equally be maintained that the meditation on Brahma is of the form that Brahma is not the sphere of speech, mind, etc. If meditation invests Brahma with attributes, then even knowledge of Brahma would convert it into an object with attributes. If it be said that knowledge having recourse to secondary implication cognizes only the attributeless Brahma, then let meditation be on the secondary implication, which is the cause of presenting Brahma without attributes. It may be maintained that scripture expressly prohibits meditation on Brahma. What is not thought of by the mind, but what impels the mind to activity. Know that alone to be Brahma, not this which they worship here. If this scriptural text be an evidence in respect of meditation not being a means to Brahma knowledge, then other passages can be quoted which declare that Brahma is not what is known. It is other than the known and greater than the unknown. The solution that Brahma is to be known in accordance with scripture, that is, that it is other than be known and greater than the unknown, is common to the view of meditation also. For it is easy to say that Brahma is to be meditated on as what is other than that which is worshipped here in this world. Nor may it be asserted that the knownness of Brahma is unreal, since that assertion holds good even in the case of meditation. If it be said that the pervasion by the mental mode is what is known, then that consideration is common also to what is meditated on. The opponent of meditation may be at last ask, why are you so much devoted to meditation? But he may well be questioned why he has so much aversion for meditation. Evidences there are in abundance in scripture to show that meditation on Brahma without attributes is possible. Nirgunopasana is mentioned in many of the Upanishads like the Tapanya, Prasanna, Katha, Mandukya, etc. The Deva said to Prajapati, tell us about the self of the form of Om, the subtlest of the subtle, and we shall meditate on that. The Prasannopanishad speaks of the man who meditates on the supreme Purusha of the nature of Om consisting of three matras. The Katha and the Mandukya also prescribe meditation on the Parnava. The mode of performing meditation is clearly described by Sureshwara in his Panchikarna. Meditation is admittedly the means to Brahma knowledge, merely because the generality of men worship only Brahma with attributes. It cannot be said that meditation on Brahma without attributes is useless. Many fools there are who are not even capable of Sagunopasana. They think that charms and spells are more efficacious than meditation. But their inclinations and tendencies do not in any way dislodge meditation from its rightful place. Just as Sagunopasana does not suffer on account of the opinion of the fools, so also Nirgunopasana gets in no way diminished in value merely because many people disregard or dislike it. Part 4 of Chapter 9, Meditations are identical. The meditations taught in the Upanishads are identical. Badarayana says in the Vedanta Sutra, Chapter 3, Part 3, verse number 1. The cognitions intimated by all the Vedanta texts are identical on account of the non-difference of injunction and so on. And because the meditation is the same in all the sakhas, the qualities mentioned therein must be taken together as denoting Brahma. Qualities, names, and attributes of that which is meditated on are of two kinds, those that are enjoined and those that are prohibited. Bliss is Brahma. Brahma is knowledge and bliss. The supreme inner essence is eternal, pure, intelligent, true, free, faultless, all-pervasive, blissful. Passages like these ascribe certain qualities to Brahma. Vedanta Sutra, Chapter 3, Part 3, stanza number 11, declares bliss and other qualities as belonging to the subject of the qualities have to be attributed to Brahma everywhere. There are certain Upanishadic passages which say what Brahma is not. It is not gross, not atomic, nor short, etc. It is that which is not seen, not grasped, not spoken of, not touched, without color and without mutation. These texts prohibit certain qualities from being applied to the self. All these negative qualifications which are mentioned in the various topics dealing with meditation must be collectively regarded as signifying Brahma. We read in the Vedanta Sutra, But the denials of conceptions concerning the Aksara are to be comprehended in all meditations on the Aksara, on account of the equality and of the object being the same as in the case of the Upashad. This has been explained in the Purva Mimamsa. All the meditations are equal in value and have one and the same object. Hence, even though only some of the qualifications are taught in each of the texts, the qualifications in their totality, be the negative or positive, must be understood as referring to Brahma. Sankara, while commenting on this sutra, writes, the attributes of the Aksara have, because they are subordinate to the Aksara itself, to be connected with the letter everywhere, in whatever places the text may originally state them. The objection that the mention of a host of qualities in a topic about meditation on the attributes is unintelligible must be put to Vyasa himself. But it may be said that as images like the Surya with a golden beard, etc., are not mentioned, there is no conflict with attributelessness. This solution is most welcome even to those who maintain that meditation on the attributeless Brahma is legitimate and possible. If it be held that qualities indicate the true self without themselves entering into its constitution, then it is possible even to meditate on the self which is by itself attributeless but which is indicated by qualities. The meditation takes the form I am that impartite a sense indicated by such attributes as bliss, etc., not gross, etc. Part 5 of Chapter 9, Meditation and Knowledge. We have seen that the difficulties which beset the view of meditation equally affect the view of knowledge, and that the mode of solving those difficulties is identical in both the views. It may then be asked in what manner meditation differs from knowledge. To this question, the reply is knowledge depends on the object, meditation depends on the agent. From inquiry, knowledge is generated. It is not removed by mere non-desire. On the bare origination of knowledge, the realness of the entire world vanishes. For a man who has known Brahma, there are no more obligations. Being released in embodiment, he is eternally satisfied and awaits only the end of prarabdha. In the case of meditation, no enquiry is necessary. What is of vital importance in meditation is firm faith in the teaching of a trustworthy person. Being instructed in the secrets of meditation, a man, even without inquiring, proceeds to contemplate his object, directing towards it a stream of uninterrupted mental modes. He contemplates the object of his desire till he begins to have a conceit in it and continues the course of his meditation to the very end of his life. In the Samvarga Vidya of the Chandogya Upanishad, the story is told of a brahmacharin who approached two princes for alms. The two princes, Kapeya, Sonka, and Kakseni Abhipratrin, kept quiet at first in order to see what the brahmacharin would say. Then the brahmacharin said, he to whom this food belongs, to him it has not been given, thus identifying himself with the prana and the prana with Brahma. The Samvarga Vidya is a meditation which identifies Brahma with the Vayu. Thus, in all meditations, the agent has to place his conceit in the object. Meditation, we have seen, depends on the desire of the agent. It can be done, not done, or done otherwise. But if meditation is to be fruitful, it must be constant and uninterrupted. The man who takes to the method of meditation must make meditation his second nature. Just as the student who learns the Vedas by rote repeats what he has got by heart even in his dreams, the man who takes to the way of meditation must, by constant practice, be able to meditate even without effort. Uninterrupted meditation leads him to such a state when even in his dreams the object of his thought does not leave him. The impression born of meditation becomes so deep that even if he will, he cannot get away from the object of his heart. It may be asked how constant meditation is possible for a man who is drawn by the force of his prarabdha to the object of sense. Prarabdha no doubt goads him on to activity other than meditation, but the great desire which he has for the object of his meditation enables him, even though bound down by prarabdha, to give his mind up to meditation. It is just like the woman who, though attending reluctantly to the duties of her household, has her thoughts centered in her sweetheart. The man of meditation attends to the affairs of the world with extreme reluctance, but the man of knowledge has no such feeling while performing the duties of empirical life. He undertakes duties of all kinds with perfect equanimity and carries them out most satisfactorily, because he knows perfectly well that the universe is of the nature of Maya and that the self is the only absolute reality. Any amount of empirical usage is ineffectual to sake of his knowledge, for empirical usages does not require the reality of the universe, nor does it need the self to be non intelligent by nature, and so a man of realization is able to move in the world even after knowing the illusory nature of the world. The means of empirical uses are the mind, speech, body, etc. These the Jnani does not control for he knows that there is no need to meddle with their course. Hence there is possible in his case empirical usage which does not in any way affect his spiritual insight. It may be objected that even a Jnani requires the control of mind, but this is not so. Mental control is needed for a man who meditates on Brahma and not for him who knows Brahma. No control or restriction of the mind is needed for the perception of a pot. Even one cognition is enough to reveal the pot. If this be the case in respect of an inert object like the pot, need it then be said that the self, which is self-luminous, does not require the control and concentration of the mind? Now, Brahma may be self-luminous, but what is called true knowledge is only the mode of the intellect of the form I am Brahma. Since this mode is momentary, there is need for directing it constantly towards Brahma. If thus it be said, we reply that this difficulty is common even to the case of pot perception. If it be said that in the case of perception of pot, etc., there is not desired the constancy of the mind, then even with the regard to Brahma intuition, the steadiness of the mind is not needed, just as after once perceiving the pot, empirical usage is made possible in respect thereof. Even so in the case of Brahma, after once it has been cognized, it is made the subject of speech, reflection, or meditation whenever desired. Like the man of meditation, even the Jnani might sometimes meditate, but his meditation is for forgetting the world. The forgetting of the world and its affairs is born of meditation and not of knowledge or illumination. The Jnani has no need to depend on meditation for release, since it is declared in scripture that by knowledge itself freedom is gained. Knowing that he crosses death, no other path to release exists. Having known that deity, he is released from all sins. If a Jnani meditates sometimes, it is because he desires it, but his release is not the result of his meditation, for already he has been freed by virtue of his knowledge. The objection that if a Jnani does not meditate, his entire attention would be carried away by the affairs of the world is not sound. We have already observed that there is no conflict between knowledge and empirical usage. The latter does not sublate the former. Any amount of external activity would not detract the Jnani from his knowledge of the infinite. If it be said that the Jnani would then be transgressing the injunctions of scripture, we reply that in the case of him who has realized the self, both prescriptions and prohibitions lose their meaning. The knower of the true self is not bound down by rules and regulations. Injunctions and prohibitions are intended only for those who cling to the empirical concepts like caste, asrama, infancy, youth, age, etc. But the Jnani knows that caste, etc. are unreal superimpositions made by Maya on the body, and he forsakes all conceit in them. Since he has relinquished all desires, he is verily a released soul, and for him there is not enjoined any duty. He is above all obligations. It matters little whether he works or not, whether he meditates or not. For the Jnani, both activity and non-activity lose their significance. Non-activity is of no use to him because his mind is already empty of vasanas. Activity does not corrupt him because he knows that he is ever pure. He knows without a shadow of doubt that the self is unattached and that the magical show of the universe is illusory. Hence, in his mind there are no vasanas. Thus, it is clear that the Vedic injunctions and prohibitions do not apply to the Jnani. They do not govern his life, for he is above their reach. In the case of the child, where there is not the application of injunction, there is no transgression of injunctions as well. Similarly, in the case of the Jnani, whom no injunction binds, there cannot arise even a suspicion of transgression. If it be said that there is no injunction for an infinite since it does not know anything, then even for the Jnani who is omniscient there is the futility of injunctions. Prohibitions and prescriptions are intended only for the middlings, those who are neither thoroughly ignorant nor omniscient. It may be objected that only those who are capable of showering either curses or grace on others can be omniscient and knowers of the truth. But this is not so, for the capacity for cursing, etc., is the result of austerity and not of knowledge. In the case of sages like Vyasa, who possess the capacity for cursing, etc., Brahma knowledge is not the fruit of austerity. The austerity which generates capacity to curse, etc., is different from the tapas which is the cause of knowledge. Sages like Vyasa had the power to curse, etc., and knowledge as well because they had performed both the kinds of tapas. But he who does only one kind of austerity reaps the fruit that is adequate to it and not the other. A Jnani who has not performed the tapas, which is the cause of supernormal power, is in no way to be ridiculed. If the Karmins are right in scoffing at the Jnani for his non-possession of such powers, then the vulgar can with perfect justice teach the Karmin who believes in the rights enjoined in the Vedas, leaving all the pleasure that the world affords, just as the abuses of the vulgar do not affect the man who is devoted to the duties of caste, status, etc. in life, etc. Even so, the censor of those who take the body to be the self and stick to the code of caste, etc., does not in any way degrade the Jnani. Thus, it is now clear that empirical usage and affairs of the world do not come into conflict with the knowledge which the Jnani has. He may be at the helm of political power, having sway over a vast empire, or he may be the lowliest of the low in the social scale, but his knowledge is not in the least unsettled. He has no desires because he knows the world to be illusory. Even if he should meditate or indulge in some other activity, it is due to his prarabdha and not the result of any inherent desire for him. Unlike the Jnani, the Upasaka has to meditate constantly. In his case, Brahmahood is a creation of his own mind and not the result of a means of valid knowledge. Hence, he has to meditate without intermission so that Brahmahood can be maintained. The Brahmahood that is achieved by meditation is not absolutely real, for it dissolves into nothing when there is a cessation of meditation, but the real Brahmahood, which is the object of knowledge, does not vanish even when the knowledge disappears. The eternal Brahma is indicated and not generated by knowledge, and so that which is indicated remains even though the indicator may cease to exist. It may be said that even in the case of Upashka, there is real Brahmahood. To this contention, we reply that this fact does not distinguish him from other creatures like the birds and the beasts. Every being has Brahma as its inner reality. In what way then is the Upasaka different from the rest of the creation? The assertion that what distinguishes the Upasaka from the rest is his cognition of Brahma is without any basis. The Brahmahood, which is the object of his meditation, is not the supreme human goal because it is not cognized. Non-knowledge is common to the Upasaka and the vulgar. Meditation is better than the other methods in the same manner as begging is better than starving. But begging by itself is not what is desired or welcome, nor is meditation a human goal. Better than other methods is meditation, and better than meditation is knowledge. The ordinary avocations of the worldly minded are inferior to the performance of the Vedic rites and rituals. Meditation on Brahma with form is superior to the path of karma, and superior still is the meditation on the attributeless Brahma. The criterion by which the superiority of a particular method is judged is its relative proximity to Brahma knowledge. That which is more proximate to Brahma knowledge is superior to that which is remote. Judged by this standard, meditation on the attributeless Brahma is superior to the remoter methods like the performance of rites and rituals. Just as Samavadi Dharma becomes very much like valid knowledge at the time of yielding fruit, even so Upasana, when it matures, becomes like knowledge at the time of release. It may be objected that Samvadi Dharma does not itself become valid knowledge, but that for the man who is impelled to a activity by it, there comes about valid knowledge as a result of the contact between his sense organs and the object. This objection in no way weakens our position for meditation. We hold gives rise to knowledge which directly makes known Brahma. If it be said that even meditation on some imposed form or image is a means to Brahma intuition through the channel of generating one pointedness of the mind, it is a contingence of the acceptable. But there is this difference between meditation on an image and meditation on the attributeless Brahma, that while the former is remote, the latter is proximate. When Nirgunapasana ripens, Samadhi is attained, and soon after that, Savikalpa Samadhi flowers into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. When this state of mental equanimity and control is reached, the unattached self remains as the imperishable residue. And when the mind gets a deep impression of this self as a result of constant and continued meditation, true cognition True cognition is generated from the major text of scriptures like that thou art, etc. Without effort, the man who is matured in meditation grasps the essential nature of the self. He realizes that the self is immutable, unattached, eternal, self-luminous, etc. There are some people who do not have recourse to meditation on the attributeless Brahma. They leave that course and pursue such paths as chanting mantras, etc. Others who are not capable of inquiry take no nirgunu For those whose mind are muddled and agitated, no inquiry is possible. And so for them the most adequate means to adopt is the path of yoga or meditation, which curb the conceit and arrogance of the mind. For those whose minds are calm and collected but who are victims to delusion, the path of Sankhya or discrimination is the principal means. That state which is reached by the Sankhya, says Krishna, is reached by the Yogas as well. He really sees who sees that both Sankhya and Yoga are one. Scripture declare that a person who follows the path of Sankhya and Yoga attains the highest and gets released from nescience, etc. In the systems of Sankhya and Yoga, there are certain elements which conflict with the purport of scripture. Those elements must be wisely discarded while treading the path of Sankhya and Yoga. We have seen that Upasana leads to Brahma knowledge. An Upaska who dies before attaining Brahma knowledge may obtain it in the world of Brahma or in his next birth. Whosoever at the and abandons the body, thinking upon any being, to that being only the he goes, says Krishna. He goes to that of which he thinks, just as the man who meditates on imposed forms or particular deities attains those deities or forms at the end. He who meditates on the attributeless Brahma acquires at the time of his death a cognition of attributeless Brahma. By the capacity of the meditation on the attributeless, there arises a cognition which removes principal nescience, even as the meditation on what has attributes given rise to the cognition of Tarka Brahma. So I end this video here. Next video will start with part 6 of chapter 9 of Panchadasi, fruit of meditation. Topic will be fruit of meditation. So thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Namaskar.